Hi guys, so in this video I'm going to go through a bunch of exam questions that are on distance time graphs. Right, so the first one, Rebecca went on a bike ride. The graph shows Rebecca's distance from home on her bike ride. So here she starts off from home. Then we can see she travels at a constant speed. She takes a break here and then she goes back home. So how far had Rebecca traveled after 30 minutes? So all you do is find 30 minutes on time. Draw a line with your ruler up to until you hit the line on the graph. So I've hit it there. Then I go across to find out how far she is from home. So she is 6 kilometers away from home at that point. Okay, so after 60 minutes, Rebecca stopped for a rest. For how many minutes did she rest? So 60 minutes, as you can see, she stopped for a rest. And then she carried on after. So when I got to this point, so let's see how many minutes is that. So that is, as you can see, it goes up in tens. So that is 80. So after 60 minutes she rested, then after 80 minutes she carried on. So 80 take away 60, she rested for 20 minutes. Now how far did Rebecca travel in total? So from 0 to 60 minutes, so this line over here, she traveled 12 kilometers. So 12 kilometers. Then she took a break, so she didn't travel at all over here. But then from 80 minutes, she traveled another 12 kilometers all the way back home. Okay, so plus another 12 gives me 24 kilometers. Okay, so that's the first question, guys, over there. Have a look, copy it down. Moving on. Now, you might get a question like this where you have to choose which distance time graph fits the description. So let's look at this description. Jess drove from Leeds to Liverpool. So if this is my time, my distance. So it starts off here. She drives from Leeds to Liverpool. She stopped for a 30-minute break on the way. Which of these graphs could represent Jess's journey? So in rough, it should look something like this. So she's traveling, she takes a break, and then she keeps on traveling to Liverpool. She does not go back to Leeds because Leeds would be on this line. So it can't be any of the graphs that are going back home. So A, as you can see, she takes a break, but this graph is saying she goes back home. So it can't be that one. B, this one's saying she's traveling at a constant speed. So it can't be this one. C, this one's saying that she travels and then immediately over here at this point she turns back around and then she goes back home to Leeds. It cannot be that one. Part D, as you can see, she's traveling at a constant speed, and then there's a little break here, and then she carries on traveling. So it could be this one. Part E, it can't be this one because this one, distance from Leeds, is decreasing every time. So at the end, as you can see, she's back at Leeds. She doesn't want to go to Leeds. She wants to go to Liverpool. F just says she's traveling at a constant speed, and then this part of the line just says she speeds up. There's no break. So it can't be this one. Okay, so it has to be D because D tells us she's traveling at a constant speed. The distance from Leeds is increasing. She takes a break here for 30 minutes and then she carries on traveling. Okay, let's try another one, another distance time graph question. Okay, so here we have Emily drove to the beach. She stayed on the beach and then drove back home. Here is Emily's travel graph. So as you can see, she takes a break at, so what time is that? This is going up in every 15 minutes. So that time would be 2:45. And then this time would be 4 o'clock. Okay. So for how many minutes did Emily stay at the beach? So she got there at 2:45. She left at 4 o'clock. So 15 minutes gives us 3 o'clock. So that's 15. and then 1 hour gets us to 4 o'clock. So 1 hour and 15 minutes. An hour is 60 minutes. So 60 plus 15 gives me 75 minutes. Okay, so she stayed at the beach for 75 minutes. Part B, what was Emily's average speed on her journey to the beach? Okay, so we're not looking at this one because she's coming back from the beach. We're looking at this line over here. Okay, now remember speed. How do we work out the speed? We need to work out the gradient. Okay, so the change in y divided by change in x. Okay, so the change in y, what is the change in y? So this distance over here. So as you can see, from 0 all the way up to 35. Okay, so 35. And then how much does it go across? It's in time. So we've got 45 minutes. Okay, so 45 minutes. Now, your time has to be in hours if you're trying to work out the speed. So 45 minutes, divide that by 60. If you cancel this fraction down, you will get, divide by 15, you'll get 3/4, which is 0.75 hours. Okay, or 3/4 of an hour. So I have to do 35 divided by 0.75. If you've got a calculator, do it on a calculator. If not, you can do 35 divided by 0.75, which is 3/4. Keep the first fraction, change the sign, flip the last fraction. I get an answer of 35 times 4 is 140 over 3. And then 3 divided by 140 gives me 46 point, yeah, so 46.6 recurring miles per hour. Okay, moving on, guys. Last question. So Dawn drove from London to Birmingham. She made one stop at a service station. Here is part of Dawn's travel graph. For how many minutes did Dawn stop at the service station? So as you can see here, this part, she takes a break. So that value over here is, so these can go up in 11. So there's 1, 2, 3. So 11, 15, 11. No, it can't be 15. So it has to be 20. So that's 11:20. That's 11:40. And then 12. So each of these is 20 minutes. Okay, so we've got 2 boxes. So from 11:20 to 12 p.m., that will be 40 minutes. So for how many minutes did Dawn stop at the service station? 40 minutes. What was Dawn's average speed between London and the service station? So this line over here, change in y is 60. Change in x is 1 hour and 20 minutes. Now, all of this has to be in hours. So 20 minutes, I need to change this to hours. So 20 divided by 60 gives me 2 out of 6, which is a third. So I can say this is 1.3 recurring because a third is 0.3 recurring. 60 divided by 1.3 recurring will give me Dawn's average speed between London and the service station. Okay, so in this booklet, you are allowed to use a calculator. So if you do 60 divided by 1.3 recurring, you get an answer of 45. So 45 miles per hour. Okay. Birmingham is 120 miles from London. Dawn arrived in Birmingham at 2 p.m. Complete the graph. So Birmingham is 120 miles away from London. So I have to keep going. I have to keep going till I reach 120, but I gotta make sure my line does not pass 2 p.m. So 2 p.m. is here. I need to end my line here. Can't go past 120. There you go. So I've completed the graph right there. All right. So guys, that was a bunch of exam questions on distance time graphs. All you need to remember is how to work out speed, what each part of the graph means, and make sure the times are in hours when you're working at the speed. Okay.